Capturing Hope daripada Tun Dr. Mahathir. Capturing Hope. The struggles continues for a new Malaysia. Chapter 1. Retirement. I had been looking forward to my retirement very much because I had a lot that I wanted to do. So soon after I stepped down in 2003 as Prime Minister, I set up a non-government organization, the PERDANA Global Peace Organization, PGPO, for the purpose of criminalizing war. This was a subject that had been very important to me for many years, but I could not pursue it while I was the sitting Prime Minister of Malaysia. In office, my duty was first and foremost to the people of Malaysia and the development of the country's economy and competitive ability on the global stage. This, by itself, was a full-time job, and I was also President of Malaysia's main political party, the United Malay National Organisation (UMNO), and Chairman of the Barisan National Coalition, the government Malaysia. There was no time to pursue other dreams while I was Prime Minister. But now that I was retired, I could finally devote my energies to war and the criminalization of it. Can you imagine taking a human life in order to achieve an objective, whatever it might be? In the course of the Second World War, an estimated 70 to 85 million people lost their lives. There were deaths on every side among combatants and civilians who are nothing to do with the hostilities. Millions of Jews and others were murdered by the Nazis in concentration camps. Millions of people died in the line of fire in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Dresden, and other places around the world. This is just the Second World War alone. There have been so many wars since. It was what humans do to other humans, and it is unfathomably inhuman. The famed Prussian military theorist Karl von Clausewitz said that war is the continuation of politics by other means. But what can war resolve that negotiation and diplomacy cannot? If in war you may not win, so also in negotiation you may fail. But just as in war you may have victory, so also through diplomacy may you get success. Negotiation, arbitration, and submissions to the judgment of the court of law. This is what human beings should do if they are civilized and seek to resolve the conflicts in peace. To resort to war and death is the instinct of an uncivilized society in which life is hasty, nasty, brutish, and short. Imagine, you quarrel with someone. What do? Pick up a cudgel, or a sword, or a gun and kill him? Is that the kind of society we want? How safe are we in a world that glorifies weapons and instrument of death, and yet people spend billions of dollars each year producing new and better weapons for us to kill one another with? If that money had been dedicated to medical research, for example, we might already have a cure for cancer. Murder is a crime, everyone agrees, but state-sanctioned murder, when the death toll is in the thousands or hundreds of thousands, you are awarded with a medal and maybe a statue. The misery you cause, the damage that you create, all of it is tolerated because it is war. This way of thinking defies logic, especially if we claim to be civilized. Yes, in negotiations, you might not always have win-win outcome, but in war, you almost always have a no-win outcome. The Duke of Wellington was one of the greatest military geniuses of the modern era, and even he lamented the cost of war. Nothing except a battle lost can be half so melancholy as a battle won. He wrote after his great defeat of Napoleon at Waterloo. If you ask a man to kill a baby, would he do it? If he were a normal, sane and decent human being, of course he would not. But when you ask a normal, sane, decent human being who is an Air Force bomber to drop an atomic bomb on a civilian city in Japan, knowing this will kill not one baby but thousands of people, would he do it? Around 140,000 people died in Hiroshima. Who were they? Men, women, children, babies, sick people, and disabled people. All were killed by the hand of civilized, decent human beings. There is something utterly wrong in a world where this can happen.
and now that I had retired from politics, I wanted to do something about it. This was the rationale for PGPO. I had a very clear objective and I needed an organization that could help push for it. One person writing alone, even a former Prime Minister, would not be effective. With an organization of people who shared the same belief about the evils of war, I believe we could spread the word, have debates and discussions, and engage younger people who would inherit this war-torn world from us. One of the main initiatives we put forward was the establishment of the Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Commission in 2007, which we believe was an important avenue for the independent investigation of wartime atrocities, crimes against humanity, and other offences under international law. The keyword was independent. We could achieve independence as uninvolved third parties in any conflict. When we have judges from nations that are actually involved in hostilities, it can be very difficult to be impartial and be seen to be impartial. In the international courts, for example, there is always dominance by one country or bloc. These courts do draw judges from many countries, and we have Pakistanis, Indians, Europeans, Americans heading tribunals, which is very good, but they are still always dominated by the powerful nations. The KL War Crimes Commission